top. Joining me now, Sheriff Clarke. He's America's sheriff. Now, Sheriff's got a little spring in his step today because, well, the Chicago Cubs, winners of 8 of their last 10, sporting a 20-13 record, now sit atop the NL Central Division after sweeping the Cardinals out of town. And they're also a half game ahead of the Brewers. So the Cubs, as Sheriff Clarke would say, in first place, back where they belong. Hey, Sheriff, good to have you with us.
John, how many times did I tell you in April? It's just April. Just hang in there till the weather warms up, and the Cubs will too, and that's what's happening.
You nailed it. You said they don't like the cold, and everybody's cold. It's been like 35 degrees at Wrigley Field. Wait till May. Wait till we get a little sun. And the Cubs now on a roll, 8 of 10, and in first place, and looking really good. I mean, they look at how bad April was. A great turnaround. So I know, Sheriff, you're fired up by that. Oh my God, Sheriff. Let's talk about. Can we just start with the border situation? Now we're getting reports of children that are being sold on a daily basis to help people get across the border, and then they're lying to the authorities saying they're a family, and then as soon as they get over, they get their paperwork and they get released, they sell them back, sneak them back across the border the other way so they can do it again. This is madness, Sheriff.
It's been going on for quite some time, and you know, everybody other than Democrats on Capitol Hill realize it. The president has said this is a humanitarian crisis. He laid it out. He explained as to why. I think most of America gets it because when you look at the polling on the issue on the border, the president is on the right side of this. So it's amazing how, especially all these people running for the Democrat nomination for president in 2020, they stand up there in front of a camera and microphone and talk about the horrors of child sex trafficking and things like that. But then when it comes time to do something about it, of course, they take a pass. So, you know, the president will keep the spotlight on this. He needs to. There are some horrors going on at the border, but it isn't the cause of the U.S. policy. It's not the cause of the Border Patrol or ICE here in the United States. It is ineffective policy. Congress will not take this up. They run from it like it's the plague. They won't do it. And it's both sides, by the way. They won't do anything with this issue. They won't fix the asylum laws. They won't take the president up on his 4 points. He's made an offer. He knows, and Congress knows, hey, this is our ordeal. You know, it's Article 1, I think it's Section 8, that says the Congress shall form rules on naturalization. So it's their baby, so to speak, but they won't take care of it.
What do you think of the new director of ICE?
Well, you know, time will tell. You got to give these people a chance to get their sea legs underneath them, I like to say. They have to know what the president's policy is, and they have to carry it out. You know, previous people in some of these positions, I'm not saying the previous person at the ICE director, but, you know, the Secretary of State wasn't really on board with Trump's strong policy on the border. And so he did the right thing in replacing that person, and that's what you're supposed to do. It's an exercise of leadership. If people aren't getting done what you need done, then it's time to make a change. So when people are replaced and new people come in, I always like to give them a chance. You know, there's some people I look at askance, and some people I look and I say, I'm not sure, but I'm willing to give people a chance.
Well, Mark Morgan has a great reputation. You know, he was head of the Border Patrol under Obama. And remember, there was a time when Obama was actually was concerned about the border crossings and illegals and actually had policies to try to curtail it. Of course, now that's all changed because, as we know, the Democrats are looking for cheap votes and the Republican donors give money so they can get cheap labor, so the whole thing keeps going. The Trump administration, Sheriff Clarke, yesterday allowing the approval of another 30,000 HB2 visas for what they called seasonal workers in a full employment economy. This has been blasted by a lot of people, including me, because to me it's just another Wall Street, Goldman Sachs ploy to drive wages down. And here's the problem. You get another 30,000. We don't know how many of these people ever go back. That's the problem. There's no tracking system. I mean, the whole thing has been exposed. They come here on one of these HB1 or HB2 visas, and then they're illegals. It expires, and they're still here, and there's no tracking system.
That's a huge problem, surrounding this whole broken immigration system. People overstaying their visas. You're right. They come into and then they blend into the population. You never see them again. But at the same time, when you're president of the United States, you have to do what's in the best interest of the country. And you're going to, no matter what you do, whenever you make a decision, and as any president, 50% of the people aren't going to like it. But you're in that position. You sought it. You're in that position for a reason. That means you have to make tough decisions. So if some seasonal workers are called for, okay, but we need a better tracking system. I think the answer isn't, well, let's not do it because people overstay their visa. Strengthen the damn visa system. Strengthen the process with which to keep up with these individuals. And when the seasonal, for instance, the growing season, when it's over, then round them up and they got to get the hell out of here. But the problem is that once that happens, you can't find them. And the ones that do, the courts get in the way. And then the courts get a stand up and issue a stay and say the president can't do this. You can't send these people back. You can't do that. And then you're hamstrung. So I don't know. I'll take a further look at these 30,000 seasonal workers. But if they're called for, they're called for.
We're with Sheriff David Clarke. He's America's Sheriff. You can follow him. Go to his website. Go to americasheriff.com. That's americasheriff.com. And he's also on the board of directors at We Build the Wall, Inc. Go to webuildthewall.com, webuildthewall.com. Sheriff, let's get to the Democratic congressional subpoena cannon. Now they're holding William Barr in contempt. Now they want Trump's taxes, which they're not going to get. The Treasury Secretary Mnuchin already said that. They want Mueller to testify. They want the redacted version of the Mueller report. I mean, the clown show here, Sheriff, just continues on and on and on. Now they're going to hold William Barr in contempt. What do you make of this whole thing?
There's the continued drama and theater that goes on in Washington, D.C. The Democrats, we knew this. If they could put control of the House, they said they were going to do this. We knew it. Shame on us for not getting out there in better numbers and not allowing this to happen. I was all over the country at the time during the midterms, letting people know there's an iceberg up ahead and we're headed straight for it, that if we do this, this was going to happen. And so the Democrats are just keeping their word. But this isn't what the American people want. Look, they're trying to force William Barr to do something they know he can't do. He'd be breaking the law to do it. They know that. They don't care. They just want the theater of it. And they call him to the Hill. He goes to the Senate. He's called to the House. And all they do is sit up there and embarrass him. Every presidential candidate, Booker all of a sudden returned to Washington. Kamala Harris all of a sudden returned to Washington for these hearings just so they could get face time and act like they have some strength, and they don't. Those two people haven't been in Washington, D.C. for a long time. They've been out on the campaign trail. So you see how this has just become a spectacle
right.
For the Democrat Party, and it's for their base. They're trying to do this for their base. So, on our side, we look and we say, well, hey, this isn't what people sent them there for. This isn't what we want them to do. They don't care about that. They only care about their rabid left base.
So, Sheriff, no question about that. And now let's get to Joe Biden, who yesterday, and this is bizarre. I mean, we're going to get to the Ukraine and the Sun Hunter and everything, but Sheriff, this is really bizarre. This even shocked me. Like yesterday, he says Margaret Thatcher called him. Well, Margaret Thatcher's dead. Then he says, sorry. Sorry about that. Theresa May called me and said she has no confidence in the president. She doesn't like working with him. So when does a head of a foreign state call a presidential candidate of a past administration while in office and say, hurry up and win because I don't want to work with the guy that's in there or gal that's in there? I mean, do you find this to be like bizarro land, or is it just me?
Well, two things here. First of all, we know it's a lie. We know that Joe has a propensity to make things up. First of all, if she did call him, and I know she did, he's lying, but if she did and he let that out, shame on him. That means that guy can't keep anything close to the vest when he has, and it shows how he would act as president. May has no, first of all, she doesn't know that he's going to win. So, why would she pick him out to do this sort of thing? But Joe's trying to do everything he can to bring attention on himself. Look, he's leading in the polls right now for the Democrat nomination. Pretty impressive numbers. He's up in the 40s already in a 22-horse field.
Unbelievable.
But he has to show some staying power. And so if the cameras don't stay on him, he has to say things that are going to bring attention to his flailing campaign.
Well, it's just, first of all, I don't believe it, because I don't believe that a head of state and an ally would say something like that. And if she did, shame on her and shame on him for leaking it. But I can't imagine he would do that, coupled with the fact it's interfering in an election by another head of state, right? I mean, could you imagine if Trump called, I don't know, let's pick some election, like who's ever running against Merkel, and said, I hope you win because I don't like Merkel. And that leaked out. I mean, everybody would be going crazy over that, right? They'd be going nuts. The whole thing is bizarre. It's just
Netanyahu calling, Trump during the campaign, the 2016 campaign, and saying, "Hurry up and win because I can't deal with this guy." It would be inappropriate for a world leader to do that sort of thing.
I mean, it really bizarre is the only thing I can think of it. And look, he's been on the campaign trail for 2 weeks. How many gaffes have we had in 10 days? Like 5 of them? I mean, this is only the beginning. This campaign is going to be a disaster. And I tell you what, Sheriff Clarke, I want you to comment on this. I think the Chinese ties and the $1.5 billion, the communist, the Chicom Bank of China, which is basically a derivative of the Chicom communist government, gave Hunter Biden's investment firm $1.5 billion while Biden was in China negotiating with him with his son. I mean, don't you think all this is going to come out?
That's how they're going to get rid of him. And I say they, I'm talking about the Democrats, because they don't want this guy in this race. He doesn't check any of the boxes that they're looking for right now in terms of a candidate or a nominee. They're going to have to bide their time, though. They're going to have to. But like I said, he got out of the gate fast. Many of them did. Sanders did. Kamala Harris. They all got out of the gate fast, but then they tailed off. So they're going to wait and see with Joe, because he can be a nuisance on the outside of this thing. So keep him in here for now. But in the end, he's not. I don't think he's going to be the nominee. I really don't, and it's because of who's in charge of the Democrat Party right now. It's that rabid base. These people, they like Sanders, they like Harris, they like a couple of the others, but people like Joe Biden, there's no room for. They've gotten rid of white males a long time ago, kicked them to the curb, said you're not needed, you're not wanted. They did that with the voters. They did that with blue-collar labor, kicked them to the curb. They did it with seniors. And so Joe is a problem right now. Joe's kind of like that pesky fly that flies around, can't really do any damage to you, but it's an annoyance. So Joe's becoming an annoyance. But the thing is, like you mentioned, he's a human gaffe machine, and he'll make so many mistakes, I think, that will hurt that party. He'll say stuff that in the end will hurt that party, and they'll have to deal with it. But for now, they're going to have to put up with him. He raised an enormous amount of money in the first 48 hours. I think he raised more than anybody that's gotten into this race. It was a little over $6 million for 48 hours. That's pretty impressive. Mm-hmm. But, Joe's been around a long time. He's got some long-time supporters. And, he got the firefighters union to endorse him already. Shame on them. But, Joe's history goes back with this party. And so some of the people in this party are willing to give him one last go-around. But I'll tell you what, I'll be shocked. I'll be shocked if he is the ultimate nominee, because he cannot beat Trump. He cannot beat Trump because the base of that party will not come out for him, just like they didn't show up in the numbers that Mrs. Bill Clinton needed. They will not come out for him as well.
I agree with you there. I really think this is smoke and mirrors. And he's had a free ride with the mainstream legacy lying media in 2008 and 2012 because of Obama. He didn't get a free ride in his other 3 presidential campaigns without Obama. All of them crashed and burned. In fact, all 3 of them were a complete debacle. Same thing is going to happen. He's not getting the pass. There's going to be scrutiny. He's going to implode. This is no different than when I was sitting here in May of 2015, and Jeb Bush was in the high 30s, and everybody thought this was going to be a walk, right? Same thing. His support it's smoke and mirrors, man. And as soon as he starts to get scrutinized and they start attacking him, he's going to fold like a cheap suit in the rain. Sheriff Clarke, I've only got a couple minutes. Give me an update on what's going on with Build the Wall.
Okay, as many of your listeners may know, we need the help of the American people. They've always come in a time of need. There are farmers and ranchers down along the border who are being besieged by illegal immigration crossings. Their properties being damaged, destroyed, stolen. They're being confronted. And so this is an effort to, on private land, on private property, build walls, build barriers, fences, whatever you want to call them, to keep illegal aliens off of their properties. We're talking about miles of stretch here. We're going to be hearing more big things coming up very soon. Some of this I can't put out yet. It's not for public knowledge yet, but a lot going on behind the scenes. And when that announcement is made, there's some very big things. I'll be the first to let you know.
Sheriff David
We need
Clarke.
money, so we need people to go to the website, webuildawall.com, and donate.
So
this
you
is
go
all
to
private funds.
This is all private funding. Go to webuildawall.com, webuildawall.com. Give a donation there. It's all private funding to build the wall we all know that we need. And We Build the Wall, this organization is doing it the right way. They're doing it with private dollars. They're doing it on owners' land. They don't need zoning approvals or anything else. They don't need Congress. They don't need appropriations. They don't need environment. They just need you to give them a donation. We Build the Wall. Sheriff Clarke, thanks for being with us, man.